Chance to review these. Any questions or comments or a motion?
Phil Jenkins, motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, that motion was by Jenkins, second by Fleming. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And that passes. And I apologize. I think what we'll do is what we did last time too is the ayes will just raise your hand or thumb, and then nays will be a vocal call, so it's a little easier for us. Next, we got reports, and the nominating committee did meet. And James, I apologize. I thought I printed off all that. Would you run through that for me? I don't have that in front of me.
Absolutely, I can run through that. So the nominating committee, which was comprised of Commissioner Fleming, Mayor Wood, Commissioner Wyrick, and Mayor Stutzman, I believe, if I have everyone correctly noted there. They did have a conversation, and essentially the nominating committee report, the way that MACOG's officers have historically worked is that the chair completes their term, and then they step off of the officers, and then everyone else in the officers list would move up one position as long as they're continuing and willing to serve. We checked with all of those members, and they were willing to serve and were continuing on as officers. And then what this meant is that this left one vacancy at the secretary position, and we have always wanted to have a good representation of a city and county mix, as well as then having representation from each of our counties. So the nominating committee reached out to Commissioner Groniger to see if he would serve, and he would. And so the slate of officers that the nominating committee was putting forth was that the chair would be Mayor Stutzman, the first vice chair would be Commissioner Wyrick, the second vice chair would be Mayor Center, the secretary would be Commissioner Groniger, and then the treasurer would be Councilman Mark Root. This was the slate of officers as presented by the nominating committee.
Thank you, James. And I appreciate everybody who's wanting to serve again this year and step up. So, but is there any discussions on the slate that's been suggested to be nominated? And if there's no discussion, is there a motion to approve the nominations?
So moved, Mayor Center.
Phil Jenkins, second.
Motion was by Senator and second by Jenkins to approve the slate of officers. Chair, Mayor Jeremy Stutzman. First Vice Chair, Commissioner Susie Wyrick. Second Vice Chair, Mayor Mark Center. Secretary, Commissioner Gary, and Treasurer would be Councilman Root. Any discussion on it? Okay, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. And all those opposed, vote vocally. And that's passed. Thank you. Go on to our financial report. Debbie.
Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. I have the November 2020 financial report, and our fiscal year-to-date expenses through $1,104.39, which is about 27.5% of our annual budget.
Debbie?
Yes.
Hey, you tuned out about the time in which you made the dollar statement. So could you repeat that for me?
Sure.
Please?
Are you guys able to hear me okay right now?
I don't know. You may have gone through some kind of internet.
Okay. A lag. The year-to-date expenses through the end of November are $2,183,104.39, which is about 27.5% of our fiscal year-to-date budget. Our cash balance at the end of November was $2,223,892.08. And our total disbursements for the month of November was $392,975.51. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, I would like to ask for board approval of the November financial report.
Commissioner Groninger, make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Wyrick, second.
That motion was by Groninger and second was by Wyrick. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. And those opposed, vote vocally. That passes. Thank you. Next, we have our secretary report, Mayor Center. Mayor Center, do you have a report you wanted to give today?
I know Mayor Center was with us just a second ago, but in case he's having any troubles unmuting, the December administrative modifications were included in the packet for everyone. The modifications are small corrections and changes that the board has allowed staff to make outside of board meetings. We provide a listing every month to the board, as well as they're published online as well. So if you wanted to be able to see those, they're in your packet or they are online. And that does not require board action.
Thank you, James.
Is there any questions on any of that report? Okay, and we don't have any old business today, correct, James?
Correct. There is no old business, only new business today.
All right, we'll move right into new business then, and you can go ahead and present.
All right, good morning. These first resolutions are out of the Fort Wayne district. All locally initiated amendments that we're presenting today are decisions made from our MACOG's most recent call for projects. And so item A is reflective of that. Item A is sponsored by the city of Goshen, and it's for road reconstruction along Brockport Drive from Monroe Street to Lincoln Avenue. This amendment's adding in right of way. I believe we added in right of way during our December policy board meeting. If there are no questions, I would ask for your approval of resolution 1-21.
Phil Jenkins, so moved.
Wyrick, second.
And that motion was by Jenkins, second by Wyrick. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second to pass resolution 0121. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed, please vote vocally. Okay, that passes. Thank you. Move on to the next resolution.
Resolution 2-21 is sponsored by NDOT. This is adding high friction surface treatments along several different locations in the Fort Wayne district. Two of those locations are just south of Warsaw along State Road 15 from County Road 400 south to County Road 350 south, as well as along State Route 25 in Palestine near County Road 600 west. If there are no questions, I would ask for your approval of resolution 2-21.
Commissioner Groninger, motion to approve.
Fish, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. And opposed, please vote vocally. Resolution passes. Thank you.
For the LaPorte district, we have three locally initiated projects for resolution 3-21. The first is sponsored by the city of South Bend. It's for road reconstruction along Bendix Drive from Vordy Drive to Lathrop Street. Item B is also with the city of South Bend, kind of continuing their sidewalk replacement around various school neighborhoods, and this one in particular is around the Our Lady of Hungry neighborhood. And then the last one is an intersection improvement for St. Joseph County at Douglas and Bittersweet Road. If there are no questions, I'd ask for your endorsement of Resolution 3-21.
I move that we accept motion 321.
I second that.
Got a motion. I didn't see who did the motion, but the second was by Fleming. Is there any discussion on this motion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. And opposed, please vote vocally. That motion passes. Thank you. On to the last resolution.
Resolution 4-21 is a resolution endorsing a grant application by MACOG to the Economic Development Administration. Just so everyone knows, this is something we present to the board every January. So I'm just a quick overview of the purpose for this, why we're doing this grant, and then what this resolution will authorize, just for new members. So everyone's MACOG serves as the Regional Economic Development District, and this is authorized by the Federal Economic Development Administration, and this was accomplished in 2011. So as a district, each federal fiscal year, which covers April, this time we April 2021 to March 2022, we receive an invitation letter from the EDA Partnership Planning Office to apply for the Partnership Planning Assistance Grant. And so with this grant, MACOG can provide technical planning services to our local communities to help them develop long-range plans, such as comprehensive plans or studies, and work with them to develop grant applications and administer awarded grants. And then also really what this helps us to be is a conduit to help you all apply for federal assistance to advance your economic development and infrastructure projects. So one of the required documentations we need for this partnership planning grant application is a signed resolution by the governing board delegating authority to the authorized organizational representative, which would be MACOG. So this resolution will authorize to do three things: MACOG to apply for and administer this EDA grant award, authorizing the MACOG executive director as the official representative to sign all required documentation on behalf of the organization, and then lastly, stating that MACOG is committing the provided local match of $70,000. So does anyone have any questions on Resolution 421? If there are no questions, then I'll ask for the board's approval of Resolution 4-21.
Mayor Center, so moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this resolution. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. And opposed, please vote vocally. That resolution passes. Brings us to our staff updates, and James is going to introduce a new staff member for us today.
Yeah, on December 14th, Brett Roberts started here at MACOG. Brett is joining us from IU, but Brett is on the line. And I'm going to have Brett introduce himself so that the board can get to know Brett. Brett is going to be assisting Donnie in community development. So he's joined our team as a community development planner.
Hi, everybody. Like James said, my name is Brett Roberts. I am new to MACOG. I am originally from Columbia City, Indiana, so just outside of the region in Whitley County, and went to Bloomington for 5 years and brand new to South Bend in the Michiana area. So excited for the opportunity to help out the region and see what we can do.
Well, welcome, Brett. We appreciate having you with the team and look forward to getting to know you better over the next little while here. James, you want to move into the grants?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to kind of provide a final update for our call for projects. So we officially finalized all of our project awards. Those award letters went out before the new year, and in total, we were able to award over $34 million in federal funding for projects through fiscal year 28. And so as you can see from December's agenda as well as January's agenda, we've been modifying and amending those decisions into our current TIP, and we'll be adding in future phases such as right-of-way and construction as we develop our new TIP this winter. So we're looking forward to kind of working with communities and starting these projects. I also wanted to provide an update for the NDOT Real Call for projects. Today is community presentations for the Fort Wayne district. So we have Elkhart and Kosciuszko County, as well as the towns of Milford, Middlebury, and Winona Lake presenting to NDOT today. And then tomorrow on the 14th, Marshall County will be presenting for their project. And so hoping those presentations go smoothly, and then we can expect, I think, decisions from those, from this call. They said sometime between late February and early March. And then the last grant update that I have is the Community Crossings Matching Grant call for projects. They just opened that up last week, and applications are due to NDOT on January 29th. So kind of a short time frame, but as always, we're here to assist communities and gathering crash data or further reviewing applications as they are submitted. So look forward to working with communities on that end.
Yeah, we did want to make everyone aware of a grant opportunity. This was already submitted January 10th. I know a number of communities had worked on this. It was a newer opportunity, and we had been letting you know about it over the last few months. But this was Okra's Community Connection for people with disabilities. The program focused on, during the time of COVID, how it has been difficult for many to connect, but especially individuals with disabilities, and how that can lead to kind of social isolation and a whole host of other issues. And so the Office of Community and Rural Affairs had a new grant program, their Community Connections program, to try and combat that. I know a number of communities looked at applying. I believe the city of Goshen was submitted for a sensory trail, I think in partnership with Mayor Stutzman, if I have that correct, ADEC. But we wanted to make sure that you were aware of it. That application has been, it was due just this week, but it was definitely a new program, and so something that we wanted to make sure everyone was aware of over the last few months. I think next, Elena has a brief update on the Rec Trails program that's coming due later this spring.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Elena. As James mentioned, the Recreational Trails program grant is due on March 1st, so it's just under 2 months away. This is a grant through the DNR.
Boost your sound, please. Boost your sound.
Hold on 1 second.
Sorry for the interruption, but it couldn't.
Is this better?
No.
Is this any better? Yes. Okay. I apologize about that. The Recreational Trails Program grant application due date is coming up on March 1st. This is through the DNR, and it can fund trail projects, including amenities and trailheads, and of course also land acquisition. We're currently waiting on the 2021 application manual to be released. I've been told it should be out in the next couple of weeks, but for now, the guide from 2020 is still online, and they said it can be used as a reference for the core information that they're requiring. So if you're interested in applying for this, or you'd like any more information, please reach out to me, and I'd be happy to pass along that manual, and any other questions that you have, I can relay to DNR as well. And of course, if you're applying, please let me know. We're always interested in seeing what the communities are up to.
All right, I wanted to provide you a quick update that MACOG is working with the Marshall County Park Board to help them develop their first 5-year park master plan. We kicked off this process actually just before the holidays in December, and we had worked with the park board to organize a steering committee and then organize the kickoff meeting. And then we've also been working on inventorying a number of existing conditions, data, and inventorying assets and facilities. And following state guidelines, the Indiana Department of Natural Resources, by the first of the year or within the first of the year, they look forward to having a document of these inventorying existing conditions and a makeup of the park board submitted by January 15th. So we have been working with the park board to get this first initial item put together. We had a kickoff meeting last Thursday, and we had good participation, and it was offered online as well as in person. And there we were helping them to think through their aspirations, identifying the county's strengths and as well as barriers pertaining to parks and recreational system. And I will note a goal of this plan is we're looking to improve county park and recreational opportunities in the unincorporated areas and how we can build connections into the municipalities who already provide these type of assets and facilities. So we're trying to work with the board to create a formalized county park system. And then from there, we'll be working on establishing needs and identifying gaps, and then identifying strategies and putting all this together in a package that will be submitted to Department of Natural Resources come April 2021. So.
All right, the last staff update I wanted to provide the policy board with is from the transportation realm. We are currently working on developing the fiscal year 22 to 26 transportation improvement program. And so this, the TIP essentially provides a list of projects that are regionally significant and also have federal funding awarded to them. It kind of provides a schedule of those projects as well as federal funding estimates that have been programmed for those projects. Just to give you a kind of a quick timeline of how this will develop, in February, we should have a pretty good working draft of projects available to review. So if you're interested in seeing that list, feel free to reach out to Ryan and I. This document will go out to public comment in March, and then we'll be looking to present it to Policy Board and TTAC in April for adoption.
Thank you, Caitlin. Are there any questions on any of those reports? All right, well, that brings us to privilege of the floor. I did have one little discussion here I'd like to bring up, and I apologize, James, I didn't get this to you beforehand. Every Wednesday morning since, I believe, early April, Elkhart County commissioners and mayors have been meeting, discussing COVID-19, what we're all doing, what we need to do. Our superintendents are also, school superintendents are also joining us. So the discussion we've been starting to have is, when do we start opening things back up again? When are we back into in-person meetings? So I'm actually getting ready to adjust my executive order for the city of Goshen. Was looking at opening buildings back up when it goes orange, but then I realized in our discussion this morning, that orange isn't really good. We just feel like it's good because we've been in red for so long. So mine will actually be stated that once we go to yellow for Elkhart County, we're going to open our buildings and go back to in-person meetings. I was just curious what other communities are doing, but also MACOG, James, if you guys have had that discussion, when you think the time is right to move back to in-person meetings, and what your plan is.
Yeah, I know from our front, what we're looking at organizationally is kind of mirroring what St. Joe County is working on, because a lot of our space for board meetings, et cetera, is held here in the county city building. So a lot of it is based a little bit on that. I think as long as the offerings are there, I think our next step moving forward would be to mirror what we did throughout the summer, where we would offer in-person offerings, but also continue to offer the electronic forum that we've been using, like we're using today. Throughout the summer, we were using both in-person and providing that options to individuals while also then still using this platform. I don't have a date certain of when we would be moving back to that, as I know the county is having a department head meeting on Thursday to discuss kind of how they are moving forward with county facilities. So, I mean, I'll open it up to any other community to talk about your perspectives, or any of the counties to talk about their perspectives of where you're viewing this topic.
Mayor Jeremy, this is Mayor Dave. Granted, we don't get the traffic of, say, a county city building, but we've remained open throughout the pandemic at City Hall here, and we really had no issues serving the public. Certainly modified operations, but we just our traffic doesn't hasn't presented any kind of problem, so we've remained open.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we've been open off and on, but when we're in red, we close down to the public, and we've found several different ways to continue serving them. And we honestly haven't had any complaints from our public. So, anybody else have any comments on this?
Jimmy, you and I have talked about this, and just for everyone else's information, we've closed once in Elkhart during the first part of the pandemic, and began to take appointments for permits. And we have a full operating municipal building for courts, licensing, permits, our offices. So we have a full range of services that are offered in the Elkhart Municipal Building. But we haven't had any complaints. We put we got security downstairs that can ensure that mitigation does occur, and masks are given out, takes temperatures more. So we've had a pretty orderly way to deal with the pandemic after we have initiated the security downstairs. So at this point, we think that we can get through until God bless, we get a vaccine and begin to ease the pressure all the way around.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I appreciate the comments there. Is there anybody else that wants to bring up something during privilege of the floor?
Mayor, I did have two things that I just want to make sure the board was aware of. So if there aren't any other members that had any items, I had two quick items. So the first is that since March of 2020, the Interurban Trolley has not collected fares to try and address driver protection related to the spread of COVID-19, as well as just trying to simplify the boarding processes for our transit system. We've been able to do that because we have control of the rear doors, and our ADA ramp is also on the rear doors. And so we've been doing that since March. We've recently been going through and installing driver protective barriers. These are rather large doors. It's not just a plexi kind of screen, but these barrier doors are being installed, and we anticipate that the full fleet, or over 75% of the fleet, will have these doors installed by February. So in about the mid to end of February, we will be reinstituting fares on the system. We do plan on sending out a press release well in advance of that, so that the public has multiple weeks to prepare and adjust to turning those fares back on, but wanted to make sure that the board was aware of that. Additionally, I'm sure all of you know that the Indiana General Assembly has started this week, and so we're keeping an eye on various bills that have been filed and watching them as they move forward in this session. Obviously, everyone has a keen eye on the biennium budget bill since it is a budget year, but there are also a whole series of other bills that we're kind of keeping an eye on that affects local government. And just a quick rundown that includes Senate Bill 236, which focuses on providing funding for land banks. There is no dedicated funding provided in state statute right now, and this would provide that. Senate Bill 207, which would look at, I think there are a few different versions of this, but look at addressing the MVH funding requirements of having to use 50% for preservation. There's also Senate Bill 208, which focuses on local government's ability to change right-of-way on thoroughfares. It was one that I'm still trying to digest and understand the ramifications of that one. There is a few bills, Senate Bill 249 and House Bill 1394, which focuses on solar and net metering. There is the Senate Bill 348, which was just recently filed, which focuses on a wastewater task force. It would establish a task force on wastewater infrastructure investment. So that's obviously a keen priority to local governments. There are a number of bills related to the ability for local governments to hold electronic meetings in the future and making that a more permanent option. I know a few of those would include Senate Bill 369 and House Bill 1437. There's also one that's called the Designated Refreshment Area Bill, which is focused on Senate Bill 238. My understanding of this bill is that that it would allow municipalities to designate a outdoor refreshment area with the approval of ATC, where you essentially could have alcohol being served in, say, like a public park for a venue or for various items. So that would allow local governments a few more options related to that topic. There's Senate Bill 88, which would which is focused on median U-turns, and it provides that INDOT would not be able to engage in the planning process or perform any construction using median U-turns until median U-turns are described in a comprehensive transportation plan and have been approved by the General Assembly. Just as I'm reading these and letting you know that we're watching these, I'm not saying that MACOG in any way is endorsing any of these bills. It's just bills that we are watching because we are aware of the potential ramifications and changes that it could provide to local government. Senate Bill 58 focuses on vote centers, and that if you have a county that uses vote centers, that you would have to have a vote center in each you would have to have at least one vote center in each municipality. And then on the House side, there's House Bill 1055, which is focused on watershed development councils. This has been seen in Marshall County with the Kankakee and Yellow River Development District that was done in session last year. This would allow that to be done in other watersheds throughout the state. The one difference is that in the Yellow Rivers case, that was required, and if the local governments did not approve of it, the funds would be pretty much automatically withheld downstate. Whereas in this one, if a new watershed is created, then the council or the counties and the cities would have to could approve tax increases. Other ones just of note, House Bill 1169 focuses on if local governments have a cybersecurity hack or cybersecurity issue, then it must be reported to the state. I believe Indiana Office of Technology. And then there's just a whole host of other bills focused on broadband and a number of other topics. There are definitely things that we're watching and keeping an eye on. I didn't know if there were any bills of note or importance that any members were watching or keeping an eye on. So just wanted to mention that we are doing that, and we try to do that every session, but just wanted to run through that. I know in Marshall County there was a House bill that was particularly focused, I think, Commissioner Overmeyer, on the jail funds and excess funds there, but I think you all are working on that collaboratively with that sponsor, I think. But so yeah, there's a number of different bills that are out there that we're keeping an eye on.
Hey, James, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Our Commissioners Association is watching State Representative Ed Soliday on the solar farms that they want to bring under the jurisdiction of the IURC, and they want to take it out of the county's hands, which a lot of us on the executive board for the commission, we're kind of up in arms about that, because now you're going back to take everything out of our control. You know, we had this issue down in Marshall County a few years ago with the wind turbines. So we passed ordinances that pretty much just restricted the wind turbines from coming in, because people didn't want to look at them. They were afraid about wildlife. And so there was some talk about 1,500 to 2,000 acres of farm ground going into solar farms. So we as a Commissioners Association is watching that very closely. I do not think it should be taken out of the state's hands or out of the county's hands, and I think it should be left in our zoning.
And I think if I have that correctly, I had that one notated as well. I think that's House Bill 1381.
Okay.
So we'll definitely keep an eye on that as well.
What was which House bill was Marshall County for the jail funding?
I believe it was 1311.
1311. Okay.
That's Representative Jack Jordan's bill.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. That's the legislative update that I have. I know it's only the first week of the session. We'll continue to let you know as things develop. I know you'll hear things from IACC or AIC or AIM or all of those kind of organizations. But if there are bills of note, please always feel free to reach out and have us keep an eye on them as well.
James, I believe might be a conflict for some of us on February 10th. AIM has their board meeting on that day from 10 to 12. So I don't know if there's any flexibility to accommodate both meetings, but just want to bring that to attention.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at it. Typically, when we used to travel places outside of the region, typically the February meeting would normally be canceled because the chair, the vice chair, and myself would be attending the National Association of Regional Councils conference in Washington, D.C., and talking to our D.C. legislators and just kind of hearing what's going on in D.C. Unfortunately, this year we're not traveling, so we were planning to have that February meeting, but we will take a look at that. I wasn't aware of the AIM conflict, so that's good to know, and we'll see if that needs to be adjusted.
Any other comments for privilege of the floor?
Can I just ask one quick follow-up question on that? Because we also have a different meeting. Do you travel to that meeting, or is it Zoom? And are we able to keep the MACOG Mayor's Commissioners meeting prior? Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong month. I'm looking at March, not February. I'm sorry. That doesn't matter. Never mind.
All right.
Sorry.
Yep. No worries.
Any other comments for privilege of the floor? Okay, that brings us to our public comment section. Are there anybody in the public that wishes to make comment? Do we have anybody with the public with us, James?
So as of right now, our policy on that has been that the public has been asked to submit comments in advance of the meeting to an email address, and that's been our precedent for the last few months. We did not receive any public comments in advance of this meeting, so there's no public comment today.
Okay, thank you. Well, if there's a motion to adjourn, we're all done.
So moved, Wyrick.
Second, Root.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. And opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you all. Have a great day. Nice seeing everybody. Best wishes.